This is the new BYD ATTO 3 EVO. Although I say new, it's technically just an update of the existing ATTO 3, but it gains EVO for evolution because it has changes on the outside, the inside, and also underneath as well. So in this video, I'm going to run you through those changes, starting with the design, because the changes are quite subtle. In fact, on the nose, you'd really have to look at them back to back to spot the differences. But now we have what BYD describes as a bit more of a dragon face. That sounds a bit like an insult, but really it's just giving the car more aggression, more on the headlights and more on the bumpers. At the side of the car, the changes are way more subtle. You're gonna have to look much closer to spot, admittedly, quite a nice set of 18-inch alloy wheels and also a slimmer side skirt as well. While at the back, I mean, the changes are very, very subtle, but if you look up top, you'll spot a bit of a sporty spoiler. It's more angular and it gets some central brake lights, and also the lower part of the bumper is tweaked as well. The rear lights, they kind of look the same, but they get a cool LED light design inside. So it's sharper and smoother outside, but inside is really where the bigger changes have come. Because in here, not only do we get some tweaks to the finish in the car, we've also got a bigger screen in the middle. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of massive touch screens, but BYD can claim to offer the biggest one in this category because that's over 15 inches in size, which means you've got a lot of stuff embedded into the digital tech. But thankfully, when you use things like Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, there is quite a lot of space to have your maps on the screen and also music, for example, or whatever other apps you have. But you can also, and this is really, really important, I think, for a lot of us, especially those of us who don't like to cook our phones, even if there is a 50-watt wireless charging mat down there, and that is that you've got Google apps built into this. So it means you can run Google software, you've got Google Maps, you've got Waze, YouTube for when you're charging, and other stuff as well. So it just makes it a lot easier, and it means your phone doesn't have to stress out on every drive. Now, you'll recognize the screen over here. It's the same as what you got before, basically, sharp graphics, although you can't get your sat-nav displayed onto that, which I think is a bit of a loss, really, although you do get a head-up display to help out looking ahead on the road. Now, elsewhere in the cabin, practically speaking, it is really quite impressive. There's quite a lot of space, and with the panoramic sunroof that we've got in this excellent model here, or excellence even, it means we've got a really airy, spacious feeling cabin, and also the dash is quite pushed back as well. So if you like a more spacious, airy cabin, you're gonna love this. Although the seats are quite supportive and comfy, and you know, you get your under storage there, decent glove box, and it is quite easy to get comfortable in this car. You sit quite high, but that's probably good for your SUV buyers. Now, the design changes in here, they're subtle. I mean, you've got some stitching on here, different materials. It feels solid, by the way, like the build quality is good. And even the screen, if you wiggle it around, that feels properly solid on the dash. So overall, it's just enhanced and improved from what came before, but really it's the tech improvements I think people will appreciate with that built-in Google stuff. Elsewhere, you've got buttons down here to control some other key stuff, including a volume knob, which is helpful. And also we've got good storage in here. Look, this is my arm, in it goes, not too bad at all. So yeah, practical, useful, comfortable. It's just a bit too techy for my liking, but I think some of you probably like that. Now, in the back seats, I have to admit, the space is pretty decent. It's not the most spacious when it comes to headroom, as you'll see here, but my leg room is okay and I can tuck my toes under the seat ahead. So I'm pretty comfortable in here. And also, the seats feel quite wide and nicely supportive as well. None of that has changed from the pre-update car, but it's just nice to note that if you carry passengers in the back who are almost 6 foot, well, they should fit all right. Although the middle seat, as I'll show you now, doesn't get a ski hatch. You do get an armrest here with a couple of cup holders, but you don't have anywhere to open this middle section up separately. But one of the biggest improvements for the BYD ATTO 3, if I open this boot up here, is boot space. Because not only at the rear have we gained 50 litres compared to the previous model, which includes, by the way, some space underneath here as well. Not just in the vertical sense, but also there's a slither of space as well that goes all the way back. Plus, you also have some space under the bonnet. This is new because the previous model had a front-wheel drive setup, meaning it had a big electric motor under there. But now we have either rear-wheel drive in the entry cars or, as this one is here, all-wheel drive with the front motor being a bit smaller, which has cleared up a load of space for a 95-litre boot in there, which is really, really helpful. So not only do you have that gain in the rear, but you've also got a massive gain at the front.
If you fancy yourself a new or used BYD, you can get searching for the perfect car without leaving your sofa. Just use the QR code on screen now to download the Cinch app and get browsing right away.
So behind the wheel of this new ATTO 3, I should be able to feel a difference in the ride because we've got that more complicated rear suspension setup. And this being the all-wheel drive excellence, we also have a lot of power, over 400 horses under the bonnet, under both axles. Now, I can confirm it is quick, but before I tell you about the performance, I just want to say the ride does still feel a little bit jiggly, like the old car, more at low speeds than high speeds, but you are just constantly aware of the pitter-patter and imperfections of a UK surface. And of course, British drivers will know we have among the worst roads in Europe right now, but that does mean it's something to consider if you live in a particularly bad and winter-beaten area. That said, at higher speed, it does start to flow a bit more. But then when it does flow, it's never quite as sporty as some of its rivals. So it doesn't feel sporty at high speed, nor does it feel super, super comfortable at low speed, but it is somewhere in the middle, and it isn't completely exhausting, and it deals with potholes if you really smack into them. It's got enough squidge to deal with that stuff, so it's okay in that regard. But where it's really impressive is in the straight line performance, because this all-wheel drive excellence will crack 62 miles per hour in 3.9 seconds, which is, well, that's supercar fast, almost. I mean, maybe supercars of 10 years ago, but that is needlessly quick. But the main reason it's useful is it means you can pull out of junctions or get away off of the line if you need to quickly change lane, for example. You can, if you're sensible, use it as a safety enhancement tool. Yep, that's considerable G-force. I mean, we're already at 60 now, and that was going up a slight incline. So I do not doubt the 0 to 62 in 3.9 seconds at all, and I don't think Lucas in the back does either. So yeah, it's quick. Road noise and refinement are pretty good actually. I mean, there's a little bit of road hiss in the background at higher speed, but the wind noise, given that this is an SUV and we have got slightly chunky door mirrors, it's pretty good. So it does feel quite quiet. It's not going to be a particularly difficult place to sit on the motorway for a long time. There is a bit of road hiss, but it's nothing abnormal. There are also a lot of driver assistance features. In fact, this car gets more now than the old Atto 3 because it's got some new radar tech on the nose, which just gives it more ability to see things. And so you have got improved driver assistance features for safety, and also you've got your adaptive cruise, etc., etc. So it is really very well kitted in that regard. It is a bit tricky to switch off some of the annoying bings and bongs. You have to go into the menu to do it. But once you've done it, thankfully, you can enjoy the other features, which are pretty good. There we go, binging at me. There is one thing that's really good in this car in standard mode, and that is the regenerative braking, because it's actually quite helpful in taking away a bit of effort from your braking as you drive at lower speed, and at higher speed, it's not too jerky as well. So those of you who've driven electric cars with good regen systems, this has a good default setting one, even if it's not as good as, say, the Renault Megane E-Tech for adjustability. That car allows you to adjust on the fly with shift paddles or to ramp up to a really strong mode. This one is just sensible in all settings. But overall, I mean, the performance of this all-wheel drive one is really quite staggering. And if you go for a normal rear-wheel drive one, well, then you get a little bit more range. In fact, the range has gone up to 316 miles, making this new Atto 3 EVO much more competitive against rivals like the Skoda Elroq and that Renault I mentioned just a second ago. This means now you can get a car for just under £39,000, and it will be really competitive in terms of range and equipment and, let's be frank, design with its European alternatives. If you go for the sensible rear drive one where you get more range, to me, that feels like a no-brainer. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think of the car's tweaked design, and how do you think it's going to compete against rivals? And of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.